I never thought I'd find myself sitting in my own office, watching through the glass walls as my sister strutted down the hallway like she owned the place. The irony? She thought she did. But everything from the modern art paintings on the walls to the Italian marble floors belonged to me. I'm Elizabeth Morgan, though around here everyone knows me as Beth Williams, just another mid-level marketing manager at Morgan Innovations. My sister, Sophia, had just been appointed as the new CEO. She didn't know that I was the real owner, the mysterious founder who operated through layers of shell companies and private equity firms. No one did, except for my trusted assistant James and my lawyers. I remember the day everything changed like it was yesterday. I was 22, fresh out of college with big dreams and an even bigger inheritance from our grandmother. While Sophie got our parents' undivided attention and praise, Grandma saw something in me that others missed. She left me her entire fortune, $5 million, but made me promise to keep it a secret. Your sister has always had everything handed to her, Grandma had said on her deathbed. Let her learn to stand on her own feet for once. But Sophia never did. Instead, she rode on our parents' connections, using their influence to climb corporate ladders while I quietly built Morgan Innovations from the ground up. I started small, investing Grandma's money wisely, working day and night to grow my company. I chose to work within it anonymously, learning every aspect of the business from the ground up. 10 years passed. Morgan Innovations grew from a small tech startup into a Fortune 500 company worth billions. I maintained my cover as Beth Williams, deliberately keeping a low profile while watching my sister's meteoric rise through the corporate world. Then came the announcement that would change everything. Our board of directors, carefully selected individuals who knew me only as the mysterious founder they'd never met, appointed Sophia as the new CEO. I knew it would end badly, but I never expected what happened next. It started with small things. Sophia began making sweeping changes, firing longtime employees who'd helped build the company, implementing harsh policies that went against everything we stood for. She swaggered through the offices like a queen, treating everyone as beneath her. I tried to guide her subtly through proper channels, sending recommendations through the board, but she dismissed them all. These old policies are why this company needs fresh leadership, she'd announce in meetings while I sat quietly taking notes like any other manager. Then came the day she called me into her office. I knew something was wrong the moment I walked in. She sat behind my grandfather's antique desk, the one piece of furniture I kept from our childhood home, looking smug and superior. Beth, she said, examining her manicured nails, I've been reviewing the department performances, and frankly, your marketing strategies are outdated. We need someone more innovative. I kept my face neutral, even as anger bubbled inside me. The marketing department has consistently exceeded targets for the past 5 years, I replied calmly. She laughed, a sharp, dismissive sound that reminded me of all the times she'd mocked my dreams growing up. Numbers can be manipulated, Beth. I need people who understand my vision for this company, people who aren't stuck in the past. And what vision is that? I asked, genuinely curious about what she thought she could bring to my company. Sophia stood up, walking around the desk to perch on its edge. I'm going to transform Morgan Innovations into something bigger, better. No more of this employee-first nonsense. No more wasting money on development programs and work-life balance initiatives. This is business, not a charity. Everything I built, every principle I'd established, she wanted to destroy. Not because it wasn't working. Our profits and employee satisfaction rates were among the highest in the industry, but because it didn't fit her image of what a powerful company should be. I don't think that's the right direction for the company, I said quietly. Her eyes narrowed. Well, it's not your decision to make, is it? You're just a manager and not a very good one at that. In fact, she picked up a folder from her desk. I think it's time for some changes. Your position has been terminated, effective immediately. I sat there, staring at my sister, seeing not the powerful CEO she thought she was, but the same spoiled girl who'd broken my toys when we were kids simply because she could. You're firing me? Security will escort you out, she said, already turning back to her computer. Don't bother asking for a reference letter. I wouldn't want to lie about your mediocre performance. As security appeared at the door, Sophia looked up one last time. Oh, and Beth, get out, you're worthless. I never understood why they hired you in the first place. I stood up slowly, straightening my jacket. You might want to take a closer look at the company ownership structure, Sophia. Things aren't always what they seem. She waved her hand dismissively. Is that supposed to be a threat? I'm the CEO of Morgan Innovations. You're nothing. I walked out with security following close behind, past the employees who looked away uncomfortably, past the boardroom where I sat anonymously through countless meetings, past the lobby where my sister's name had already replaced our father's on the board of directors. In my car, I pulled out my phone and dialed James. It's time, I said simply. Are you sure? He asked, though I could hear him already typing. Once we do this. Do it. Send out the memo to the board. Schedule the emergency meeting for tomorrow morning, and James, make sure every document that needs to be signed has my real name on it. All of them. I drove home to my modest apartment, another choice I'd made to maintain my cover, and poured myself a glass of wine. Tomorrow Sophia would learn what it truly meant to be CEO of Morgan Innovations. Tomorrow she'd discover that her worthless sister owned not just the company, but her entire career. Sometimes the best revenge isn't served cold. Sometimes it's served with a stack of ownership documents and a company-wide memo introducing the real founder and owner of Morgan Innovations. I picked up a framed photo from my desk, the last picture taken of Grandma and me together. She was smiling that knowing smile of hers, the one that told me she'd seen something in me worth nurturing. You were right, Grandma, I whispered. Sometimes the quietest person in the room is the one you should watch out for. Tomorrow would change everything. But for tonight, I savored the calm before the storm, knowing that years of careful planning were about to pay off in ways my sister never saw coming. The next morning, I arrived at the office early wearing my best suit, not the modest outfits I'd worn as Beth Williams, but a tailored Armani that had been sitting in my closet waiting for this moment. The security guard who had escorted me out yesterday did a double take but said nothing as James met me in the lobby with a keycard. Everything's ready, he said, handing me a leather portfolio. The board is assembling in the main conference room. Sophia hasn't arrived yet. I nodded, feeling strangely calm. And the documents? All prepared. The ownership papers, the founding documents, everything that proves you're Elizabeth Morgan, the real owner of Morgan Innovations. He paused. She's going to be furious. Let her be, I said, stepping into the elevator. She's been furious at me our entire lives. At least this time, I'll have earned it. The board members were already seated when I walked in. They looked confused to see Beth Williams, the recently fired marketing manager, walking in with such confidence. A few shifted uncomfortably, probably expecting a scene. Ms. Williams, Mr. Patterson, the board chairman, began. I'm afraid this meeting is for. Actually, I interrupted smoothly, it's Ms. Morgan. Elizabeth Morgan. The room fell silent. They all knew the name, the mysterious founder who communicated only through lawyers and written directives, the woman who had built Morgan Innovations from nothing into a billion-dollar company. That's when Sophia burst in, already talking. I hope this emergency meeting isn't going to take long. I have a golf game with the Hendersons at. She stopped dead when she saw me. What is she doing here? I fired her yesterday. I smiled, the kind of smile Grandma used to give when she knew something others didn't. Good morning, Sophia. Please, take a seat. We have a lot to discuss. I will not. Security, she shouted. Won't be necessary, I said calmly, opening my portfolio. Mr. Patterson, would you please distribute these documents to the board? James began passing out folders containing irrefutable proof of my identity. Ownership documents, banking records, the original incorporation papers with my signature. Sophia snatched one, her face growing paler with each page she turned. This is impossible, she stammered. You're Beth Williams. You're nothing but a marketing manager. Beth Williams was a cover, I explained, standing at the head of the table. I'm Elizabeth Morgan, founder and majority shareholder of Morgan Innovations. I own 82% of this company. I paused, letting that sink in. Including your contract as CEO. The board members were reading through their documents, murmuring among themselves. Mr. Patterson cleared his throat. These appear to be in order. Ms. Morgan has been the owner since the company's inception. Sophia collapsed into a chair, her perfectly manicured hands shaking. But why? Why pretend to be someone else? Why let me become CEO? Because, dear sister, I wanted to see what you would do with power. Would you use it wisely? Would you respect the company culture I built? Or would you do exactly what you've always done? Bulldoze everything in your path just because you could? I walked around the table slowly. You fired dedicated employees who helped build this company. You plan to dismantle employee benefits that make us one of the best places to work in the industry. And yesterday, you fired your own sister, calling her worthless. If I had known, she began. That's exactly the point, I cut in. You shouldn't have needed to know who I was to treat people with respect. I turned to the board. Ladies and gentlemen, as founder and majority shareholder, I'm calling for an immediate vote on the position of CEO. All in favor of removing Sophia Morgan from her position. Hands went up around the table. Even those board members who had supported her appointment couldn't ignore the documentation in front of them, or her behavior over the past weeks. This isn't fair. Sophia stood up, her voice shrill. You tricked me. You all conspired against me. No, Sophia, you did this to yourself. I pressed the intercom. Please send in the HR director. Sandra, our HR director, entered with another stack of documents. Your termination papers, Ms. Morgan, she said, unable to hide a small smile. She, like many others, had watched Sophia's reign of terror with growing concern. You can't fire me, Sophia whispered, but her voice had lost its edge. I'm your sister. Yes, you are. And yesterday, you made it very clear what that means to you. I sat down in the CEO's chair, my chair. You have until the end of the day to clear out your office. Security will escort you. As Sophia was led out, tears streaming down her face, I addressed the board. Now, shall we discuss returning Morgan Innovations to its original mission and values? The next few weeks were a whirlwind of changes. Employees who had been unfairly terminated were offered their jobs back. The toxic policies Sophia had implemented were reversed. And slowly, the company culture I had carefully built began to heal. My parents, of course, were furious. They couldn't understand how their precious Sophia could have been humiliated this way. But when they stormed into my office, demanding explanations, I simply showed them the company's performance records under my leadership. This company succeeds because it values every employee, I told them, not just the ones with the right name or connections. Sophia tried to sue, claiming I had deceived the board. Her lawyers dropped the case as soon as they saw my documentation. She then tried to turn the family against me. Not that she needed to try hard there. But for the first time in my life, I didn't care about their approval. 6 months later, I sat in my office, my real office, looking out over the city. Morgan Innovations' stock price had reached an all-time high. Employee satisfaction was back up to 97%. And on my desk sat a small photo of Grandma, her knowing smile now matched by my own. James knocked on my door. Your sister is here to see you. I raised an eyebrow. Really? Sophia walked in, different from the last time I'd seen her. The designer clothes and arrogant posture were gone. She looked humbled. I've been doing a lot of thinking, she said quietly, about the kind of person I've been, the kind of sister I've been. I gestured for her to sit. And you were right. About everything. She took a deep breath. I'm sorry, Elizabeth, not just for how I treated you as CEO, but for how I've treated you our whole lives. I studied her face, seeing sincerity there for the first time in years. Thank you. I don't expect forgiveness, she continued. But I was hoping, maybe you could teach me? Show me how to earn respect instead of demanding it. I thought about Grandma, about what she'd seen in me all those years ago. Sometimes people can surprise you if you give them the chance to grow. We'll start you in marketing, I said finally. The real marketing department, not as a manager. You'll need to work your way up, just like everyone else. The smile she gave me wasn't the smug one I was used to. It was genuine, grateful even. Thank you. I won't let you down. As she left my office, I picked up Grandma's photo. Well, what do you think? I asked it softly. Should I give her a chance? The knowing smile in the photo seemed to widen. Sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's giving people the opportunity to become better than they were. I turned back to my computer, where quarterly reports awaited my review. I had built something remarkable here, not just a successful company, but a place where people could grow, learn, and yes, even change. And maybe, just maybe, that included my sister too.